The Prime Minister has the call.
Mr Speaker, well, I can't speak to the discussions of the Nationals party room any more than the Leader of the Nationals can speak to the discussions of the Liberals party room, Mr Speaker. We're two great proud parties. We've formed a great coalition, Mr Speaker, as we have done for many, many years and continue to do so. Mr Speaker, what I can be very clear to the Australian people about is we will be very transparent about what our commitments are. Very transparent about what our commitments are, what the costs are, Mr Speaker, what the outcomes are going to be, and they can trust me to do that because that's exactly what I did at the last election, Mr Speaker. At the last election, I set out very clearly what our 2030 target was going to be, how we were going to achieve it, that we would meet and beat it, what the costs would be, what the programs were, Mr Speaker, and as a result, the Australian people backed our plan. Now, those opposite, Mr Speaker, the Labor Party, they had a 45% emissions reduction target. The then Leader of the Opposition couldn't explain those issues, Mr Speaker. He couldn't level with the Australian people. He couldn't explain
to
the cost,
Prime
Mr.
Minister,
Speaker.
this is not it's not an opportunity to now move off the question, which was a very specific one about whether he would or wouldn't release modelling. And I think the Prime Minister's answered that, but it's not an opportunity to talk about the opposition policies at the last election.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Now, Mr Speaker, I can be very clear with the Australian people. We will set these things out very, very clearly because that is our form. That is what we have done. Because, Mr Speaker, I think it's very important for Australians to know what our plans are, as they are aware of all plans of those who would go to the next election pretending to do various things. Now, we'll be very clear about our plans. People know what our 2030 commitment is, Speaker. It's a mystery what those opposites' 2030 commitment is, Mr Speaker. There's no plan there. There's no plan for 2050 from those opposite, Mr Speaker. We will release our plans. We will be clear about the costs. We will explain to people in rural and regional Australia in particular how we'll be standing with them as they work through the challenges that they will face and realise the opportunities are there for more jobs, more opportunities, more investment and a stronger rural and regional Australia, Mr Speaker. So I welcome the fact that in asking this question, Mr Speaker, the Labor Party are saying that the standard is you've got to tell people what your plans are and what your costs are and what it means for them, Mr Speaker, and that will be the first time they've ever done that.
Prime Minister resume his seat. I think he's concluded. Prime Minister's concluded his answer. The member for Cowper.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister. Will the Deputy Prime Minister outline to the House how the Morrison-Joyce government is ensuring a strong economic recovery in the regions by investing in infrastructure projects that support communities and create jobs?
The Deputy Prime Minister has the call.
Well, Mr Speaker, I thank the honourable member for Cowper for his question and note the tremendous work that he is doing. We actually have seats that are next door to one another, and projects such as the Wallamumbi to Kempsey Road upgrade, which is vitally important, a road that's held by the council and obviously it's beyond their capacity to do much with it, a road that not much has happened for a very, very long time. Yet it's a vital interconnector between the two electorates. But it's not just that he's working on, Mr Speaker. I also note the work that he is doing